Freddy Adu. Before Messi conquered the world, America believed they had found their own football messiah. The hype around Freddy Adu wasn't just astronomical, it was insane. At 14, Adu became the youngest athlete ever to sign a professional contract in United States history when DC United selected him first overall in the 2004 Super Draft. Pelé himself starred in commercials alongside the teenager, explicitly anointing him as the next legend. Nike threw $1 million at him. ESPN declared him a better prospect than LeBron James. Football Manager gamers obsessed over signing him for every club they managed, convinced he'd become the greatest player alive. This is the biggest signing in league history. Freddy is one of the top young players in the world, MLS proclaimed with messianic fervor. Inter Milan's executives drooled. He's a great talented player with wonderful technical attitude. Manchester United invited him for trials. Ferguson himself called him a talented boy. The wait was crushing. Adu later revealed the heartbreaking truth behind the headlines. What people don't know is I went pro because my family was real poor. What am I going to do? Say no to millions while my family's struggling? Then came the spectacular collapse. 15 clubs, 9 countries: Portugal, Monaco, Greece, Turkey, Brazil, Serbia, Finland, Sweden. A nomadic nightmare of unfulfilled promise. His final destination? Österlen FF, Sweden's 3rd division, where he couldn't even earn a single minute of playing time. He has a lot of football in him, but the physical and mental are missing, the club's vice chairman Felix declared after releasing him. The boy, once compared to Pelé by Pelé himself, had become football's greatest cautionary tale about hype, pressure, and dreams that crumble under impossible expectations. Ravel Morrison. Sir Alex Ferguson called Rio Ferdinand and Wayne Rooney over during training and delivered a statement that still haunts Manchester United. "This kid is better than you when you were a kid, Wayne. Better than you, Rio. Better than Ryan Giggs. This is the best kid you'll ever see." He was talking about Ravel Morrison. At United's academy, Morrison was untouchable. His technique, vision, and ability to humiliate defenders were otherworldly. Ferguson genuinely believed he was watching a future Ballon d'Or winner. The problems were always lurking beneath the surface. Morrison's attitude and legal troubles made him impossible to manage, no matter how gifted his feet were. He possessed as much natural talent as any youngster we ever signed, but kept getting into trouble, Ferguson later wrote with visible pain. The problems off the pitch continued to escalate, and we had little option but to cut the cord. 3 senior appearances. That's all Manchester United got from their greatest ever academy talent. Sold to West Ham in 2012, Morrison's career became a masterclass in wasted brilliance. Wonder goals followed by disciplinary disasters, moments of magic overshadowed by self-destruction. His journey reads like a cautionary tale written in different languages: Cardiff City, Lazio, Atlas, Östersunds FK, Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, DC United. Now 32 and playing for Precision FC in the UAE's 3rd division, Morrison represents football's most painful truth about talent versus character. "It makes me upset that I could have gone further. I should have gone further," Morrison admitted in 2020. The best kid Ferguson ever saw never came close to fulfilling his destiny, and everyone who witnessed his genius knows exactly what was lost. Joao Felix. Diego Simeone thought he was getting the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Atletico Madrid paid €126 million, the 5th highest transfer fee in football history, for Portugal's crown jewel. Joao Felix had just won the Golden Boy Award, destroying defenses with silky touches and vision that made grown men weep. "He's a special talent," Simeone declared, "a player who can decide games with a moment of magic." The hype was intoxicating. This was supposedly Ronaldo's heir, the player who would carry Portuguese football into the future. But here's a shocking detail that makes his story even more tragic. Felix considered quitting football at just 12 years old due to lack of playing time at Porto, only staying because his father convinced him to pursue his dream. But Atletico's brutal defensive system was like putting a racehorse in a coal mine. Felix thrived on freedom, creativity, flowing football. Simeone's pragmatic approach suffocated his natural instincts. The clashes were inevitable, and fans even whistled him at the Metropolitano Stadium after he publicly offered himself to Barcelona, one of Atletico's biggest rivals. Multiple loan moves to Chelsea and Barcelona showed flashes of brilliance, but no consistency. The numbers tell a devastating story, from a €126 million valuation to joining Chelsea for €60 million, then his value plummeting again to just €30 million for his latest move. At 25, he's now joined Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia, alongside his childhood hero Cristiano Ronaldo, a move that screams surrender rather than ambition. This isn't a strategic career move. move. It's a white flag moment. Felix has become the fourth highest transfer fee generating player in history at $260 million total. Yet he's essentially admitted defeat by trading European glory for Saudi riches before even hitting his prime. Working under Portuguese coach Jorge Jesus at Al Nassr, he'll earn $10 million annually. Comfortable money for a comfortable career, but a far cry from the European dominance everyone expected.
Alexandre Pato. What happens when you're declared better than Ronaldinho and compared to Ronaldo in the same breath? You either become football's ultimate legend or you crumble under impossible expectations. In 2007, Alexandre Pato arrived at AC Milan, carrying the weight of superhuman comparisons. Carlo Ancelotti made his shocking declaration: Pato is better than Ronaldinho, a phenomenon, amazing speed, a powerful shot, superb balance. Meanwhile, Brazil manager Dunga added fuel to the fire. His style of play is similar to that of Ronaldo. I don't think he is a normal talent. Two legends, one teenager. The pressure was suffocating. Pato looked destined to merge Ronaldinho's magic with Ronaldo's clinical deadliness. The pace was devastating, the finishing surgical, the future seemingly limitless. Then reality hit like a sledgehammer. The boy, blessed with comparisons to Brazil's greatest icons, made a choice that haunted him. Arriving at Milan, he had to pick between Ronaldo's playboy lifestyle or Kaká's Bible. He chose the party life. Injuries followed like vultures. Relentless muscle problems stole his explosive pace. Multiple comebacks in Brazil, China, and Europe never recaptured his Milan magic. The cruel irony? The Ronaldo comparison proved prophetic, not for his goals, but for career-destroying injuries. Pato retired in 2025, his silence deafening. The man who should have combined two legends into one superstar never fulfilled even a fragment of those earth-shattering expectations. Sometimes greatness isn't about talent, it's about surviving the weight of being called the next everything. Dele Alli.
Some football tragedies end with retirement. Dele Alli's nightmare keeps getting worse. Unlike other fallen Wonderkids, his story is still writing itself in real time, each chapter more devastating than the last. Dele Alli was untouchable at Tottenham, back-to-back PFA Young Player of the Year winner, compared to Frank Lampard for his explosive runs and clinical finishing. At 20, he looked like England's future captain, destined for greatness. Then, the world watched him crumble. Problems with mental health, Pochettino's departure, and stop-start team selections became a toxic cocktail. The decline was agonizing to witness. From England regular to forgotten man, from Champions League finalist to struggling for minutes anywhere. The nightmare deepened in March 2025. After 748 days out of football, battling sleeping pill addiction and childhood trauma in rehab, Dele finally made his Como debut against AC Milan. 9 minutes later, red card. Sent off for a reckless tackle that left even his former Tottenham teammate Kyle Walker, now playing for Milan, pleading with the referee. Now 29 and reportedly frozen out by Cesc Fabregas, training alone while still under contract until 2026, Dele recently posted, "Keep smiling and grinding." Whispers suggest he's considering retirement. The Wonderkid who once had the world at his feet now represents football's cruelest truth. Sometimes talent isn't enough to overcome the demons in your head.
Jadon Sancho.
Manchester United thought they'd signed the next superstar. Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund was absolutely electric. Pace, trickery, and an end product that had defenders questioning their career choices. England's golden boy, destroying the Bundesliga at just 20 years old. But here's where his story gets fascinating and slightly chilling. Manchester City, the club that raised him from age 14, let this generational talent walk away for basically nothing when he was just 17. At the time, it raised eyebrows across football. How could City let a player this gifted slip through their fingers? Maybe, just maybe, they knew something others didn't. The stats at Dortmund were absolutely ridiculous. 50 goals and 64 assists in 137 games. He's got everything to become a world-class player, Lucien Favre declared. But there were whispers about the quiet kid behind the magic. Sancho was introverted, someone who thrived away from the spotlight, but crumbled when all eyes were on him. Then came the catastrophic £73 million move to Old Trafford, and everything collapsed spectacularly. The pressure was crushing, and for a reserve player, United's media circus was suffocating. Sancho became collateral damage in their dysfunction. Erik ten Hag publicly questioned his commitment, banishing him from training after Sancho fired back on social media. "I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair." For someone who avoided confrontation, this public battle was devastating. His January 2024 loan return to Dortmund revealed the real Sancho again. Magical, confident, free from suffocating expectations. He helped them reach the Champions League final, completed 12 dribbles against PSG in the semi-final, the most since Lionel Messi in 2008, and became the highest-scoring Englishman in Bundesliga history. Now 25 and finishing at Chelsea after winning the 2025 UEFA Conference League final, his story took another cruel twist. Despite the obligation clause being triggered, Chelsea chose to pay a £5 million penalty fee rather than make his £25 million move permanent. He returns to Manchester United, creating one of football's most awkward reunions. Maybe City saw this coming all along, that beneath the brilliant footballer was a sensitive soul who'd struggle under the brutal spotlight. One of the most expensive English players in history has become the Premier League's ultimate poster boy for how talent without the right temperament can make you rich but leave your legacy in ruins.
Giovani dos Santos. Barcelona executives were convinced they'd discovered football's next phenomenon. After nurturing Giovani dos Santos through La Masia from childhood, they watched Mexico's golden boy blossom into something extraordinary. Coaches whispered he could claim the Ballon d'Or. The raw talent was mesmerizing. Lightning pace, silky touch, pure magic. Gio has something special, Frank Rijkaard declared, the man who transformed Ronaldinho into a god. When the architect of Barcelona's Renaissance speaks, the world listens. Dos Santos seemed destined for immortality. The fall was brutal. One by one, European dreams shattered like glass. Tottenham couldn't crack his code. Ipswich, Galatasaray, Villarreal, the same heartbreaking pattern. The Wonderkid became a nomad, chasing ghosts across continents instead of collecting silverware. Even MLS couldn't resurrect the magic. LA Galaxy watched their designated player designation become a burden. Consistency? His kryptonite. But Mexico was different. Crucial World Cup moments kept hope alive. International football became his sanctuary. By 2021, Club America released him into the void. No official retirement, no farewell tour, just silence. The boy who should have inherited Ronaldinho's throne vanished, leaving Catalonian hearts wondering what could have been if Barcelona wore green shirts.
Bojan Krkic. At Barcelona's La Masia Academy, there was another mesmerizing talent. Bojan was the chosen one. He broke Messi's record as Barcelona's youngest goalscorer. The media went absolutely wild, with pundits across Spain declaring he was once tipped to break Messi's records. This wasn't just hype. Bojan was systematically destroying youth football at the same club that produced the greatest player of all time. According to Barcelona's official records, he scored 423 goals in their youth system, making him the top scorer in La Masia's history. But here's the thing about breaking Messi's records. It's like being handed a lit stick of dynamite and being told it's a birthday candle. The moment you break a Messi record, you're not celebrating an achievement, you're signing your own death warrant. Everyone expects you to be the next Messi, and that's an impossible standard that will inevitably explode in your face. As he said in his own words to stop the comparisons, "In the end, I know my qualities, and I know I'm not Messi, I'm Bojan." It could have ended up being one of the coldest quotes in history, but the pressure crushed him completely. He struggled with the pressure of expectations and never fully adapted to life at a top club. Living in Messi's shadow became impossible when everyone expected him to fill shoes that were frankly superhuman-sized. Multiple loan moves couldn't reignite his career. The weight of being the next Messi proved too heavy for anyone to carry. The mental toll was devastating. Bojan admitted suffering panic attacks from age 17, revealing how early stardom can absolutely destroy a young mind. Every match became a test he was destined to fail, simply because the expectations were otherworldly. Bojan retired in 2023 after playing in Japan, announcing his decision at Camp Nou. "These decisions are not easy. I have been away from home for 12 years, and I feel fulfilled professionally," he said. The man who scored 423 goals in Barcelona's youth ranks ended his career with 93 goals in 451 professional appearances across 7 countries. From breaking records at the world's most prestigious academy to wandering through 7 different countries in search of what he'd lost. That's how far the fall was from football's highest peak.
Jordan Ibe.
When Raheem Sterling left Liverpool for Manchester City, absolute panic set in at Anfield. Who could possibly replace their golden boy? Liverpool legend John Aldridge had the answer. Liverpool have a top replacement in Jordan Ibe. I've been watching Jordan play since he was 15. He's a terrific player and has bags of potential. He could be a better player than the City-bound forward. This wasn't just hope. This was Liverpool fans desperately convincing themselves they'd actually upgraded. Sterling had just torn their hearts out by choosing City, and they needed someone, anyone, to be better. Ibe became their chosen one through pure wishful thinking. The hype was absolutely everywhere. Ibe had been predicted in 2013 to be part of England's squad for the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Aldridge doubled down completely. He could, in my opinion, surpass Raheem. He's got everything going if nurtured in the right way. His defining moment came in a Merseyside derby performance at Goodison Park that had Steven Gerrard describing it as sensational. The raw pace, the direct running, the fearlessness. For those 90 minutes, he genuinely looked like Liverpool's future. Jurgen Klopp's arrival shifted the tactical system, and Ibe found his game time limited. Liverpool sold him to Bournemouth for £15 million in 2016, where he managed just 5 goals in 92 games for the Cherries. The personal toll was devastating. In January 2021, Ibe bravely opened up about his mental health struggles. "I found myself in a dark place due to suffering from depression. Today, the fall is heartbreaking." Ibe recently signed with Hungerford Town in January 2025, a 7th-tier club. He was with Ebbsfleet United in the National League during 2023-24, making just one substitute appearance, then spent 2 months with Hayes and Yeading United in late 2024. The man once touted as better than Raheem Sterling now plays 7th-tier football.
Nick Powell.
An 18-year-old Nick Powell destroyed Cheltenham with a thunderous volley in the League Two playoff final. Sir Alex Ferguson personally scouted him and declared, "He is an exceptional talent and has been schooled well at Crewe. I'm delighted he has chosen to come to United." Manchester United paid £6 million for a teenager who'd only dominated League Two. Powell scored on his Premier League debut against Wigan after 9 minutes, drilling the ball into the corner from 20 yards. That debut goal felt like the beginning of something massive. Then Ferguson retired and everything collapsed. "I don't really count Manchester United as part of my career. It's a nice thing to have on your CV, but I only played 9 games, Powell admitted. Under David Moyes and Louis van Gaal, this promising Wonderkid became a punchline. December 2015, Champions League against Wolfsburg. United desperately needed to avoid defeat. With the team chasing an equaliser, Van Gaal made a substitution that stunned Old Trafford. He took off Juan Mata, United's most creative player, and brought on Nick Powell, who had barely featured all season. The decision was so bewildering that United fans turned it into a meme for terrible management. Powell takes complete responsibility. "I wasn't a Manchester United player. They were a machine. I played football for the fun of it, whereas they played to win." The fall is devastating. After being released by Stockport County, he signed with Bradford City hours later. He's now playing in KSI's Baller League, earning £400 per game. From Ferguson's chosen one to novelty entertainment.
Mario Gotze. This one's controversial. Mario Gotze technically achieved the ultimate dream and has had a good career. He scored the World Cup final winner against Argentina in 2014, literally the biggest moment in football. But here's the thing, even after reaching football's Mount Everest, he still failed to live up to the hype. Pep Guardiola called him the best German talent of his generation. Numerous pundits labelled him the new Messi. At 22, after scoring the World Cup winner, Gotze should have been entering his prime years as one of the world's best players. Instead, he faded dramatically. The metabolic disorder myopathy struck in 2017, affecting his muscle development and energy levels for months. This mysterious condition left him exhausted during training and unable to reach peak performance. Bayern Munich let him go back to Borussia Dortmund, where even familiar surroundings couldn't recapture the magic that once had him mentioned alongside Messi. Currently playing for Eintracht Frankfurt at 33, Gotze is still contracted until 2026 and has experienced a renaissance in recent seasons. Frankfurt have even pressed on despite losing Omar Marmoush to Manchester City in January 2025, with Gotze helping guide the club's European ambitions. Now mentoring the next generation of talents, his experience at the highest level proves invaluable for Frankfurt's young squad. He scored the most important goal in German football history, yet somehow still feels like a disappointment. That's how massive the expectations were for Germany's golden boy. If you want to dive deeper into football's most shocking untold stories and the dark secrets behind the beautiful game, make sure to subscribe because we're just getting started.